My name is Laura. I'm 36 years old, and until a few months ago, I believed I was an only child. My parents had always told me that I was their one and only miracle. Born after 10 years of trying, after endless doctor visits, tears, and prayers. I never questioned them. Why would I? My childhood was quiet, protected, and full of love. I was their center, their sunshine. We lived in a small town where everyone knew each other. My father worked at a bank. My mother was a school teacher. They raised me with kindness, values, and routine. Everything felt normal until the day a letter arrived. It was a thick, cream-colored envelope with no return address. Inside, I found an old photo, two little girls in matching dresses. One of them was unmistakably me. The other looked just like me, but wasn't. The note attached said, "Ask them who I am." I stared at the photo for hours. The second girl had my nose, my chin. Her eyes were slightly wider. Her smile tilted differently, but still, I could feel the connection. I couldn't ignore it. That night, I confronted my parents. We sat in the living room under the yellow glow of the lamp. I handed them the photo and the note. They froze. My father's face went pale. My mother began to cry before I even asked the question. Who is she? I asked softly. Neither spoke for a while. Then my father said, "She's your sister." The room spun. I stood up, pacing. "Why didn't you tell me? Where is she?" My mother wiped her tears. "You were both born 3 minutes apart, twins, but we were poor. Your father had just lost his job. I was sick after the birth. They told us it would be better if she went to another family." Her voice broke. "Who told you that?" I asked. "The adoption agency, a private arrangement. It wasn't legal, just desperate." My parents looked ashamed. They told me the adoptive family lived in another town, that they had promised to keep in touch, but never did, and so they let go and kept it secret. I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I just walked out. I needed air, I needed time. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. I had a sister, a twin, and I never knew. The next morning, I took the photo to a private investigator. I gave him the only clue, the name E. Within a week, he had a name, Emma Reynolds. She lived 3 hours away. She was a nurse. Single, no children, no criminal record, and yes, adopted. I wrote a letter. I didn't know what else to do. I said, "Dear Emma, I believe we may be sisters. I found an old photo. If this makes sense to you, please reach out. With hope, Laura." One included my number. She replied 4 days later, a text message. "Let's meet tomorrow, noon, Jackson's Cafe." No punctuation, no emotion, just direction. I hardly slept that night. The next day, I drove to Jackson's Cafe. I wore a pale blue dress and barely any makeup. I arrived early, heart racing. At 11:58, she walked in. She looked just like me, older somehow, though we were the same age. She had a quiet strength about her, like someone who had seen too much. She sat down and said, "So, you're her." I nodded. "I'm sorry it took me so long to find you," I said. She didn't smile. She stirred her coffee and said, "I always knew I had a sister. They told me when I was 12, but they said you died." I stared at her. "I didn't. I'm here." She looked up, her eyes hard. "I know. That's why I sent the photo." I froze. "You sent it?" She nodded. "I found a box of papers after my adoptive mom died. Letters from your parents. Photos. They stopped replying when I was 5. She paused. "I just wanted to know if you were real. I didn't know you existed." I said, "I found out only last week." She raised an eyebrow. "Convenient." I didn't argue. I just said, "I'm sorry." The conversation was stiff, awkward, emotional. We were two strangers sharing the same DNA, same face, different lives. Over the next few weeks, we exchanged messages, short at first, then longer. She told me about her adoptive parents. Kind, strict, hardworking. Her mother had died of cancer. Her father from a stroke. She had no one now. I invited her for dinner. She said yes. My parents were nervous but wanted to meet her. The reunion was tense. My mother wept. My father apologized over and over. Emma remained quiet, polite, but distant. After dinner, she and I went for a walk. I asked her how she felt, like someone opened a locked door and left me to deal with the dust. I get that. I said, no, you don't, she replied. You got birthdays, Christmas mornings, bedtime stories. I got strangers and silence. We didn't talk for 2 weeks after that. I gave her space. Then one morning, I sent her a picture. Us as babies in the same crib. I captioned it. What if we try again? She replied with one word. Okay. Time helped. We met every Saturday. Sometimes for coffee, sometimes just to walk. We learned each other's patterns. She liked mint tea. I liked vanilla lattes. She hated loud restaurants. I love live music. But somehow, we clicked. She told me about her heartbreaks, about a fiancé who left her, about a miscarriage at 29, about how she often felt invisible. I told her about my fear of disappointing people, about my job in HR that drained me, about my lonely apartment with perfect decor and no laughter. One day she said, I always wanted a sister. Now I have one, and I don't know what to do with that. I replied, maybe we figure it out together. We started building something, a relationship, a fragile but real bond. She met my friends. I visited her hospital. We cooked together. We fought over stupid things. We cried over real ones. A year after we first met, we went on a trip to the mountains. We rented a cabin, talked late into the night. We laughed so hard we cried, she said. I never knew I could feel this whole. Neither did I. We still carry scars. There's pain we don't talk about every day, but we carry it together now. She's no longer a ghost in an old photo. She's my sister, my mirror, my other half. I forgave my parents. Eventually, she did too. They made mistakes, big ones, but they also gave us life. So here we are, two women who should have grown up side by side, but didn't. Now we're making up for lost time. Not perfectly, but honestly. If you've ever lost someone, or wondered what could have been, know this. Sometimes the past comes back not to haunt you, but to heal you. Thank you for listening to our story. If it touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. And if there's someone you've lost, maybe it's time to find them. It's never too late for truth or for love.